Oh, oh, New York Cities. New York Cities. The Nets 146. The Washington Wizards 149. It's a joke thing. Let's talk basketball. I'm Eve Darbouz. I'm a Brooklyn Nets fan. I rep the black and white. I love my team. My team don't love me back. Not because of this abysmal defensive performance that we saw tonight. The Washington Wizards basically broke the Nets record for scoring. And not only did the Washington Wizards give us a drubbing, humiliate us, basically expose everything that's wrong with the Brooklyn Nets. But the Washington Wizards did it on a night that Brooklyn Nets were just kind of looking at each Nets fans rather were just kind of all looking at each other as best they can. You can look at each other on Twitter like, "Oh, we signed Iman Shumpert. What the hell?" Out of all the problems that you saw that the Brooklyn Nets had tonight, right? Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's go there. Right. You tell me, how does a team shoot 56.8%? Basically shot 57% and lose. You tell me, how does a team shoot 52.8% from 3 and lose? Right? How does a team shoot 81% from the free throw line as a group after shooting 33 free throws? These aren't good offensive numbers. These are phenomenal offensive numbers. And now I'm really going to throw you for a loop. How did we lose this game when we out rebounded them 45, to 39? Yes. We won the rebounding war. Now they got more offensive rebounds. They got a lot. Wow. 11-7. Right. We moved the ball. We got 33 assists tonight. We played good basketball on one end. See, defense isn't an aspect of basketball. Defense is 50%. That's why I thought when I first saw the news that the Nets signed Iman Shumpert, I thought somebody was playing a joke on me. And then I looked at all of the reliable sources. And yes, that with the 3 roster spots that they have left, they've used one on Norvell Pell. Like, yes, bouncy, you know, if he can play anything on the NBA level, it's defense. I'm not so sure. I'm not 100% sold. But hey, he's 27 years old. Let's give it a shot. This is a player that's fighting for NBA opportunity. I'll take it. But then the Iman Shumpert side of it, it messed my head up because there's other reports out there that's saying this happened because Kyrie Irving wanted it. This has all of the ingredients of jacking off a championship. Games like this are warning signs because the Wizards aren't a good team. We're not going to see them in the playoff, I don't think. The Wizards are just abysmal. But if the Wizards could get 149 on you, what do you think teams locked in, teams who are watching film for hours on what you can and can't do, teams that are the better teams in the league, who, because they're the better teams in the league, play better defense? What do you think they're going to do in the playoffs? I know in the playoffs, Kevin Durant's going to play 40 minutes. Kyrie's going to play 40 minutes. Harden's going to play 40 minutes. But at those 2 other spots, you mean to tell me DeAndre Jordan is the best we could do? You mean to tell me that the Joe Harris we saw tonight wasn't a beat up Joe Harris? Having a ride on Rui Hachimura's back basically the whole evening? You know, just like, listen, Bruce Brown is good. He's a good little player. Solves none of the Nets' problems. We have a point guard. Playing 2 point guards almost compounds what ails the Nets. But you have to play Bruce Brown because he's the only person on the team that plays any defense. This is embarrassing. And it stinks of all the reasons why Mike D'Antoni teams could never get out of the Western Conference Finals. Barely could get out of the second round. They have basically looked at the defense and said, fuck that. We're not playing any defense. Right? It's like, as we watch these Sean Marks signings, it's like the more we realize that this dude, Sean Marks, is just not seeing what we're seeing. He doesn't see a need for anybody that could match up with LeBron. LeBron is not the power forward most of the time for the Lakers. He's the small forward. He's the point guard. What are we doing? You have no length on this team. You have no athleticism. You just have scoring. And I'm sorry, everyone wants to blame Steve Nash. I'm not blaming Steve Nash. None of these players are historically good defenders. These players, you knew walking through the door, this player does not defend. That's not what he does. So what are we expecting from Steve Nash? Somehow to make it where Bruce Brown can post up Robin Lopez? That it even makes any kind of sense watching Rui Hachimura on Joe Harris? It's illogical. It doesn't make sense. And and we're all going through this exercise on Twitter trying to figure out who is it that we gotta blame. I I guess we gotta blame the general manager, and I guess that's Kevin Durant. He's picking these players to play with, and none of them could play a lick of defense. That's the old teammates that you could pick out. And don't get me wrong, I love Jeff Green. Jeff Green has been excellent for us. The problem is, Jeff Green is not supposed to be your starting power forward. He's supposed to come off the bench and give you surprise minutes. You're not supposed to be riding him like he's some young thoroughbred. That's not what Jeff Greens of the world do. Jeff Greens of the world comes in, they fill in the blanks, he gets 10 to 15 points a night, plays really good defense, shores up the holes in the second team, exploits some bad and young defenders that's typically on coming off the bench, and keep, you know, hold things down on the nights that Kevin Durant can't play. But because of the way this insane small ball that Sean Marks wants to play, we do not have a competent power forward. And he's making no inroads to getting one. And until he does, our defense is going to be ass. You're not winning a championship like this. The reason why I'm mad tonight, the reason why I'm talking loud tonight is because there are opportunities in jeopardy. The Nets are a team who has it in their past that they sold Dr. J, the LeBron of his time, Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan, and they sold him to just get into the NBA and be in New Jersey. They should have stood up to the Knicks. They should have fought the Knicks. But we didn't have the owners with the money or the wherewithal to take advantage of that. So we went to New Jersey and we basically sold Dr. J for money. Years later, John Calipari had an opportunity to work out Kobe Bryant. Bobby Marks said Kobe was the best NBA prospect that he ever worked out. And they didn't draft him because they got scared he wouldn't play. That's in this franchise's history. There was a moment in time that the Nets had Vince Carter and Jason Kidd in their prime. And instead of adding on players, they sold off players to the point that Jason Kidd started having migraines and forced his way off the team. Jason Kidd took the same team that he forced his way off of to 2 NBA finals. And instead of adding players to that, it